Today, I will bring you the true story of forensic doctors meeting ghosts. The forensic doctor who told me a story is an old forensic doctor. The forensic uncle said that he has encountered a lot of vicious cases over the years. But what impressed me most was that since so many years of experience, there have been several cases that have never been able to give him the correct answer. Forensic uncle, who entered the forensic major at the age of about 2445, are all engaged in medical workers. Once he entered the industry, it was completely different from what he thought. A master led me, and my master also gave me some work experience about medical integration forensics. I participated in several cases, but when I really arrived at the scene, it was completely different from the anatomy I learned in school. At the scene, I even saw people mixed with cement, the bodies of rotten people, and even strange things growing on people. If the scene had been put on normal people, it would have collapsed long ago. But for me, it can survive, because the first family is engaged in the medical industry. The second is the industry I chose by myself. Since I have chosen this industry, I have to go on my knees and cry. I am not afraid of courage, and my work attitude has been recognized by all leaders. So for more than half a year of starting my job, the work was very smooth. Until almost a year after I worked, I encountered a thing that made me no longer want to do this job. At that time, I was still living in the dormitory. After 7 p.m., I received a phone call. The body was sent. We needed to have a test. I quickly put on my clothes and rushed to the unit. When I arrived at the unit, I saw a scene of two groups of people quarreling. One was a criminal police, and the other was the victim's family. The victim's family was a man. He quarreled there that he would not let the criminal police take care of the matter. This man died normally. Why did he wait for the police to dissect? No. I bypassed this noisy group of people and went straight to my job. I went to the anatomy room to see that it was the body of a woman. I simply examined the body. The body was very fat. She was a middle-aged woman in her 50s. Because the uncle was a southerner, the uncle said that it was common for such obese people in their time. The woman's weight was obviously 180 kgs, and she was particularly short. Because she had not been notified by her superiors, the uncle could only simply look through it. Just then, the criminal police colleague of the forensic uncle came in. The criminal police friend quickly asked the uncle, "Let's see what's going on. We think there's something wrong." When the forensic uncle heard this, he quickly asked, "What's going on?" A criminal police colleague said that this was a sudden incident. It was discovered by a child. As soon as the child entered the house, he found his mother lying on the table. That is to say, as soon as I had half a meal, the mother died. The child quickly notified the neighborhood committee. As soon as the neighborhood committee saw something wrong, it notified the police. As soon as the police arrived at the scene, the male owner of the family hurried back. However, the police found that there was something wrong with her husband's expression, and many years of experience felt that something was wrong here, and it also involved personal death. So they quickly notified the nearby criminal police to define it as abnormal death. However, the family of this party is very resistant. It is said that the deceased had cerebral thrombosis half a year ago. We all advised him to eat less meat, but he couldn't control his mouth. It looked like myocardial infarction. My husband's resistance was particularly strong. If you want to guide the police to us, this is a normal death and sent to the normal morgue. Even if this matter is solved, the more they resist, the criminal police will feel that this matter is not right, but they are not instructed by their superiors. It is not possible to autopsy the body. Just then, the male master was noisy all the way, preventing the autopsy, and even followed here with his mother all the way. Colleagues in the same industry talked about what had just happened, and then continued to ask our forensic uncle, "What's going on with this body?" The forensic uncle said that the first thing they habitually tested the corpse in their time was to open the head. It was a fresh corpse. The part of the brain was the cleanest, colorless and tasteless, and the brain was the place where it was the most likely to show signs of death. If we look at the surface, this body has signs of poisoning. After opening the Skull. Smell it with your nose. If we smell garlic, especially garlic, 70% of it is arsenic poisoning. If there is an almond taste, 67% is actually potassium cyanide poisoning. And there are some poisons that start from the liver, that is, to hurt the liver first, and then run through the whole body from the liver. However, in this way of poisoning, the brain smells like ammonia. To put it bluntly, it's ammonia, which smells very bad. It's the smell of ammonia that we smell like perm. If you commit suicide by taking sleeping pills, then the brain will show a smell of fruit candy. After examining the body, the uncle did die of myocardial infarction, but the forensic uncle still found some abnormalities. First of all, the body has ear acupuncture points, and second, the deceased's mouth is light, which is obviously a condition of suffocating poisoning. Third, the degree of bruise on the deceased's nails is obviously different from that of normal death. Therefore, the uncle felt that there was nothing wrong with the criminal police's suspicion. There should be something here. As soon as the criminal police heard these words and walked out of the anatomy room, they told the family members of the person concerned that the body must stay in the police morgue for an autopsy. Tomorrow, you can't leave the city. You can wait for notice and contact at any time. At noon the next day, the criminal police completed the process and was notified that the superior could approve the autopsy. And if it is really a criminal case, it can be arrested. But in this process, the forensic uncle said that something had happened again. There was a vicious case of dismemberment. The bodies were divided into many pieces, some of which were thrown into garbage dumps, railways, etc. And this matter was very serious, and even involved the mayor at that time. This is a very large case. Compared with the case just now, this case is nothing. Originally, there were few criminal police officers and forensic personnel in our police station, and the case just now was not fully qualified. So all of us went to the new case, which was temporarily put on hold. And the body was temporarily placed in the morgue, waiting for further dissection. My colleagues and I went to this vicious dismemberment case at that time, because the corpses were placed very scattered. We searched around for more than 10 days, racking our brains and exhausting our strength. Of course, through more than 10 days of investigation and search, the amount of corpses is getting smaller and smaller. Therefore, there is less and less work pressure on the forensic uncle. The forensic uncle also had time to go back to his dormitory and went to bed normally. Maybe after 5 o'clock in the afternoon one night, I went back to the dormitory and was ready to take a break. Because of the vicious case I faced in more than 10 days, I was very stressed, and in the face of such a terrible picture, my appetite was very unsensible, so I wanted to drink a little wine at night to calm down my mood and adjust my appetite. I just drank it. I slept in bed at about 8 or 9 o'clock. Usually, my uncle slept very heavy and very good, but he couldn't hear thunder. But this night, the uncle always felt that he didn't sleep soundly. When he slept until about 9 o'clock, the uncle got up and drank some water, then lay down again. At 11 o'clock, he got up again, and then lay down and fell asleep. But at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the evening, I was awakened by the sound of the door. I can obviously feel that someone seems to be knocking on my door, making a rattle, as if someone is twisting. My dormitory itself is not big, about 10 square meters, and I can see my head at a glance. And I think this is the police dormitory. The thief has no eyes. Is it a colleague who accidentally walked to the wrong door? I got up and turned on the light and checked the door. I looked into the corridor a few times. I found that there was no movement and no one. So I closed the door, turned off the light and lay down and fell asleep. After not sleeping for a while, I heard a thump. Someone knocked on me, and I turned on the light again to look. There was still no one. I was a little scared, so I turned on the light and then went back to bed to lie down. But after a while, I found that there was nothing, and I habitually turned off the light and got ready to sleep. The third time I was woken up, it was not a knock on the door. I don't know why I woke up, but after I woke up, I couldn't move all over. I felt as if my hands and feet were bound by something, and my whole body was stiff. The only thing I can move is my neck. I can Twist left and right a little. I found a person in my room who was standing in the corner of my room. As I said before, I slapped my room. That is to say, this person is very close to me, as if in front of me. The human body is very fat. He just hooked like this, looking straight at me. I just want to struggle to sit up and fight against this bad guy, but no matter how I move, I can't move. And my whole body seems to be frozen. I even want to shout, "Who are you? What are you doing in my room?" But I found that I couldn't make a sound at all. I could only look at this huge figure and slowly approach me. When the fat figure came to my bedside, I couldn't see it clearly. This is a middle-aged woman. Her black eyes are staring straight at me. At this time, I am very nervous, afraid. I struggle and want to sit up, but no matter how I struggle, my body doesn't listen to me and move. This woman kept staring at me silently. When I was about to sit by my bedside, I suddenly shouted. My whole body seemed to break free from the strength just now, and suddenly sat up. Just the moment I sat up, the woman just now suddenly disappeared. My heart was beating, and I quickly turned on the light in the room, but I found that the door lock didn't move at all. It was fine, and I checked around. There was no trace of walking under the counter bed, and I felt like a nightmare dream. When I went to the canteen for breakfast in the morning, I met my master. My master is an old forensic doctor. When I saw that there was something wrong with me, he asked me what was going on. Not long after I joined this unit, as a young man, I didn't want to tell the master about it, so I prevaricated it. But since then, I have always been distracted by this matter. It has affected my work, and I keep losing my hair, and even my body begins to get sick and fever. The master saw that my situation was wrong. As an old forensic doctor for many years, he had taken so many apprentices. So he asked me again, "What's going on?" I cried at once, because it was too stressful these days. I knew that the woman I met that night pestered me every day. I told the master about the story. The master handed me the file of my case. As soon as I opened the file, a photo in it stood in front of me. With a bang, goosebumps curled up all over. The woman in this photo is exactly the woman I can see every night. If the master says yes, you can feel at ease. This case hasn't been solved yet. I'll take someone for an autopsy and follow up work tomorrow. In the past 2 days, the master and colleagues submitted the results of the case to the criminal police. After investigation and evidence collection, the case was quickly solved. Of course, this woman died abnormally and died of arsenic poisoning. The poisoner knows the woman's physique very well. Although it looks like a death from myocardial infarction, it is caused by a small amount of arsenic and multiple poisoning. The murderer is the woman's husband. It turned out that this woman's husband had an affair outside. Before long, the two had a relationship. The girl said that she was pregnant and told the man that you would divorce your wife soon. Otherwise I would make trouble with this matter in the factory. So my husband went home and quarreled with his wife several times to divorce his wife. But his wife certainly disagreed. This woman was not a very provocative role in her lifetime. This woman is not easy to mess with at home. This man can't beat her at all. There was nothing he could do. The man took all kinds of small methods and finally ended his wife's life in this way. Of course, this man was eventually brought to justice. After this case was solved, I never dreamed of this dream again. And the woman never came to me again. And my physical illness naturally recovered and did not lose my hair. After this, I will be very careful in the future, until I retire. That's all for the story of this forensic doctor. Thank you for watching.